Okay, so today we are going to see the integrating Splunk with the ServiceNow. And before we jump on the lab part of it, integrating Splunk with the ServiceNow, I just wanted to give you an overview of mainly on the what's the use of integrating Splunk with the ServiceNow. So as you can see here, on the one side you have your Splunk platform up and running. On another side, you have your ServiceNow platform. So Splunk, like for your log analysis or like for different kind of use cases, you might be using Splunk. And then on the other hand, you have the ServiceNow for maybe for CMDB management or for the incidents, right? So on the Splunk side, Splunk provides add-on, Splunk add-on for ServiceNow, using which you can integrate both these platforms. And before we go into the practical part, let me just tell you use of integrating it. And to start with, integrating Splunk with ServiceNow, it allows you to send data from Splunk to ServiceNow, like here to here, and even vice versa. From ServiceNow also, you can push the data to Splunk. So in terms of use cases, if we talk like on this Splunk, if you set up the alerts or correlation such as whatever it may be, right? So if you want to create the events and then eventually using those events, if you want to create the incidents in ServiceNow, so you can leverage on this add-on to take care of this part. Whenever there will be an alert triggered here, that will push the event to ServiceNow, and then using the workflow, utilizing that event, you can create the incident. The second, for the another use case wherein you from ServiceNow to Splunk, uh, for example, if you have your CMDB data here, all the maybe the inventory of your infrastructure, right? All the server details, database, network devices, everything. So all that data, if you want to push to Splunk, you can again rely on this add-on to post that data to Splunk from ServiceNow. Secondly, if you want to post your incidents in ServiceNow to Splunk, you can again do it using this add-on. So now, and okay, so I have already configured one test ServiceNow account for myself. Let me just tell you how you can get it done. So you can go to dev.servicenow.com. It's not. Okay, let's go to servicenow.com. And when you go to this login, one second, it may come, it may take some time to come here. Okay, yeah, so this login option has come now. So once you click on it, if you don't have the account already running on ServiceNow, you can get one by clicking on this account option, create an account. So by providing all these details, once you submit it, it will take you to this page. This page, developer.servicenow. After the sign up, you can go to this developer.servicenow.com. So once your account is created here you will have an option to start building, right? So, and then once you click on that start building option here, right after signing up, it will generate one instance for you, and it will also open a new pop-up window with the URL of your dev environment along with credentials, username, and password you need to use to log into that instance. So, and even if you want to take a look on that later, like what was the username and password for your instance, you can go to this manage instance password. So it will show you the instance URL for your account, instance name, username, password. So why I'm reiterating on these details, because you need these details while configuring the add-on on this Splunk, right? So, okay, so the account I have already configured for this test session. And after after logging to this dev instance of yours, right? This one. So this is how the ServiceNow page will look. This is my dev instance they have allocated to me. And here can do a lot of things, like if I want to take a look on CMDB data, like the default CMDB data, I can take a look here. This is the default data which is coming along with this instance setup. Incidents, I can see if any default incidents have generated. Yeah. So this is how it looks. Now, okay, so now we want to integrate this service now with our Splunk. So for that, I've already spinned up an instance in AWS and installed this latest Splunk there. So it's up and running now. So now let's try to find out that add-on and try to configure that. So click on Browse More Apps. Search for ServiceNow here. And this is the add-on, Service add-on for Splunk add-on for ServiceNow. So once you click on Install, you need to provide your Splunk.com credentials here. And it will install it. Okay, so it's installed. Let me open it straight away. So this is the add-on, right, which has been configured now. Currently, we do not have any account configured here. It's newly installed add-on. There are a few other options, proxy setup, logging, API selections. So these are not mandatory things need to set. You need to set up. You can leave the default ones. ServiceNow account. And then here is another input button, that is inputs, to configure the inputs. So we'll come back to this one once our configuration is done. So the configuration is nothing. We just need to provide the username and password and the URL of our ServiceNow instance to connect this Splunk instance with the ServiceNow. Okay, so for example, I'm giving it Splunk to ServiceNow. URL, I need to provide my dev instance URL, what I have been given by ServiceNow. So I'm going to pick this. Okay. Auth type, I'm going to use the basic authentication, username and password. So I've seen it here. Username, admin, password. And record count, I'm leaving it blank. Enter the maximum number of records to be fetched at an API call to the database table, right? So I'm leaving it blank. And if I would suggest to go through this documentation of Splunk's official page as well for this add-on, to understand, to get an understanding of all the different parameters being used there on the add-on. Like account name be entered, URL, what does that mean, auth type, username, password, record count, enter the maximum number of records to be fetched. So all this information you can read on the Splunk's official documentation. Then there are some other optional parameters as well, like configuring proxy and all logging labels. So if you do not want to change it, you can leave it default one. But you can go through this document if you need any detailed info about any specific parameter on that add-on. So once this is done, so our account is configured now. It means it should be able to connect with ServiceNow. Now, if you go to inputs and create a new input, give a name like SnowDB, SnowDev CI. Account, we are going to use the one which we have configured. Interval, I am leaving it 60 seconds for now, but I think in a production, like based on your requirement, you can keep it. Maybe you just want to run it just once, right? You just want to pull the data from ServiceNow to Splunk just once for CMDB related info. But to test this, I'm just leaving it 60. Table to collect from. So I want to pull the data from CMDB CI table. I want that CMDB, the default configurations what we got here. this. So I'm using the same table here. Everything else, start date and included properties, I'm leaving it or default one. Index also I'm going to use the default one. So let's add this input. Now, once this is added, let's go to main index and see if you got any data here. So you may need to wait. Okay, I think that after creating the input, you need to enable it. Yeah. So this is node.ci. Yeah, this is the one we created. So let's enable it. By default, it's disabled after creating, right? And now you will just wait for a few seconds and then you will see the data here after 60 seconds, the Snow CMDB data. So, okay, coming back to this document. So in this session, what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to pull the data in Splunk from ServiceNow. That's what we are discussing currently, right? Maybe CMDB data or incident data here. We are trying to pull it in Splunk using this add-on. In my next video, I'll show you how to create events and post alerts here and post those alerts to ServiceNow. So currently the traffic is going to traverse from ServiceNow to Splunk. But in that case, it's going to be vice versa. From Splunk, we will be pushing the data to ServiceNow. So that scenario we'll discuss in our next video. Okay, so it hasn't pulled up any data. Let's wait for a few more seconds. Okay, no, let's check the internal logs if that account is able to connect or not. So you can go to this TA. Okay, so I think verifying URL. So you can use Splunk internal logs for any kind of troubleshooting. It's not initiating request. Okay, it initiated the request and then data collection complete. Okay, so now I think you should have the data here. Is that? Okay. The default index is main only. Let's check the internal logs once again. Go to TA Snow because this is the add-on we are using, right? Data collection ends for snow.ci. I don't see any error for total of 0 records. It's on. Okay, so I didn't find any data there. But why is that the case? Maybe no. Let's check the configuration once. So configuration. These things we are leaving default. So why it's saying 0 matching events. Data collection got a total of 0 records. CMDB CA. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try to create one more input there for the incidents. Let's go there, create new input, snow dev incidents. And we are going to use the same account again. Table, we are going to use incidents this time, right? Because as we were seeing, there is already one default incident here. Yeah. So let's try to pull it here. So we'll use incident table. Everything we are leaving default, index also default. Okay, let's save it. And enable that input. Okay, so this is also enabled now. Let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, so you can see like immediately you created an input here, created an input, immediately it makes an API call to ServiceNow. You can see this endpoint here, right? And it pulled the data from ServiceNow to here. So this is how you can pull the data from ServiceNow to Splunk. In my next video, I'll show you how to uh, create an alert in Splunk and post that to ServiceNow. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.